Hello everyone, and welcome to another beer review. Now today, we're kind of back on the Scottish series, but I didn't actually go for this because it was Scottish. I went for this because it was something new, and it might be something I actually might like, especially coming from this brewery. So what we're doing today is BrewDog Black Heart. You take your pick, what facial expressions suit this best. So yes, BrewDog. I don't really have a particularly good relationship with BrewDog, with their products or the kind of, how would you say, the kind of behaviour of the company, and especially their CEO in some ways. But at the end of the day, as I've always said before, I review beers wanting them to be good. I never ever want a beer to be bad. I want it to be good. So I'm going in this, hopefully this is a good beer from that point of view. And then I can say, oh yeah, BrewDog. Not a big fan of a lot of their stuff, but I do like the Black Heart Stout. It may be nice to be able to say that. Whether I can or not is a different story. But the thing is with Black Heart, I'm sure there's another Black Heart Stout by the Black Heart Brewery. I'm sure it was in Yorkshire. Maybe some of the viewers can kind of confirm or deny that being a fact or not, but I'm sure there is. I'm sure there was a Black Heart Stout. I'm sure there still is a Black Heart Stout, so I don't know. But anyway, I might be mad, but I just, for some strange reason, I'm sure there's a Black Heart Stout from Yorkshire. But anyway, this is being sold. It's 4.1%. It's a 440ml can. It's being sold right now for £5 for a 4-pack, which works out roughly about £1.25 a can. And yeah, apparently that's the kind of sale price just now, so there's no guarantee that it's not going to go up. The thing is though that this is supposed to be how it's been kind of reported in the press and by other YouTubers, that this is a direct kind of competitor to Guinness, and that's what they went after. That might be the case, it might not be. But my view is Guinness, and I'm not going to compare it to Guinness, because at the end of the day, Guinness is more about the gimmicks really than the beer. If it was more about the beer, then the beer would probably taste a hell of a lot better than it does, because it's hell of a bland and quite kind of tasteless and boring. So I think that's why they need all the hype and all the mystique and the gimmicks and all the nonsense round about it, to try and kind of make it more marketable and more interesting. But if it was just basically all about the actual flavour of the Guinness Stout, then not going to be much of a talking point apart from that's bland. So I'm not going to put it to head because I've done Guinness to death to a certain degree, and I do have another Guinness review coming up, but it's more of a consumer kind of advice really than really a review of it. But it's just to kind of look at things and just a bit of consumer advice of what you can do if you want to do a certain thing with Guinness, and you don't have to pay for the specialist kind of natural surge cans and anything else. But anyway, I'm digressing. So it's all about BrewDog today, and I'm going to review it as an individual beer. I'm not going to compare it directly head to head with anything, because at the end of the day, it might be not like a competitor to Guinness. It might be just because it's a stout. Well, it could be maybe a closer one towards Fuller's Black Cap Stout or something like that. But as far as I know, I think it is a nitro. Doesn't really say much apart from great beer that's great for the planet. Right, great for the planet. Is that not the same beer company that was complaining that if we passed on the full costs of production to the customers, it would work out roughly about £27 a pint? So obviously, if that was the case, then your electricity and other energy usage isn't maybe so kind of green as you might think it is if you're just basically dragging it from the normal grid. So there you go. And apparently proudly community and employee owned. There we go. Marvellous. And there's no really any spill in the back, thank God. But I think it is nitrous, and it feels like it's nitrous. If you feel a normal can, there's usually a bit of give. With nitrous, no, there isn't so much give. So yeah, anyway, let's crack it open. Yeah, that's nitrous. Jesus. Let's see what it's like. I've not really watched any of the reviews on this because there's been reviews going about everywhere. Anything that's black coming out of a can was basically being ramped. There's a wee bit of settling. I'm going to give it a wee bit of time just to kind of get the last bits in. But yes, there's been a lot of hype going on with BrewDog and their stout, and Guinness with the Nitro Surge has been launched, and oh, there's been videos everywhere. Oh, the craft fraternity and the YouTubers have been creaming their underwear with excitement, anticipation, and all over, what would you call it? Arse licking? Unbelievable, it really is. And I actually wasn't really planning to do this. It just so happened I was in getting something else from Tesco's and I seen it, then I thought, well, sorry, I might as well get some. Let's see what it's like, that type of scenario. So it's kind of settled, give it a wee top up. Not that will probably make any bloody difference, but anyway. And there you go. Bubble Central. So, as you can see, people will say, oh, it looks a bit like Guinness, but like you could say it probably looks a bit like Murphy's or Beamish or that. I would probably say it probably looks a bit more like Murphy's because it's more of a tanned head. With Guinness, it's more of a whiter head. You get a bit of a more of a tanned head. Yeah, a wee bit. A wee bit of smokiness. You're getting kind of molasses, so you're getting that kind of molasses, dark roasted malts. Maybe a little bit of smokiness. And definitely a little hint of coffee that you're getting. Yeah. No chocolate, which is good. So yeah, that's what you're kind of getting. So let's see what it tastes like. BrewDog, Black Heart, Stout. Right. There's a bitterness, more of a bitterness to the aftertaste than you get with a very well known and very well marketed Irish stout. So there's definitely more in the aftertaste than there is with. But what I would say is a kind of slightly kind of treacly, kind of treacleness, kind of molasses to the aftertaste, and it reminds me of I did layer cake stout from BrewDog, which is a god awful beer. I'll be totally honest. The flavour profiles are just, in my view, dreadful. Other people maybe think it's wonderful, whatever. I think it's overly sweet. Some of the flavour profiles are absolutely sickening. And yeah, it just reminds me that there is some similarities. It doesn't have some of the gaudy flavours of layer cake's aftertaste, but that kind of molasses, kind of treacle-esque, kind of dark treacle in the aftertaste just reminds me of layer cake, which is unfortunate because I'll be totally honest, I don't want any reminder of layer cake in any way, shape or form because I just thought it was absolutely dreadful and an abomination of a beer. But again, that's my own personal view, and if you do like layer cake, then good on you, keep drinking it and enjoy it. That's what I'm going to say, but it's definitely not for me. So, let's see. There's a bit more flavour. I mean, this is obviously, I don't know if they're going to be marketing this as more mainstream. I don't know, or they're going to basically drag it back up to the kind of heady heights of the craft bollocks. I honestly really don't know. I think if it was a direct competitor to Guinness, what people are saying it is. Well, Guinness for a 4-pack for the same size of can, which is the 440ml, is roughly about £4.75 up to about £5 depending on where you're buying it. But most supermarkets have got it roughly about £4.75 for the 4-pack. So it's 25%, well, 25 pence more per 4-pack for the BrewDog Black Heart. Now the problem with that is that's a sale price, supposedly. That's what people are saying, and that's what kind of it's being kind of pushed just now as. It's a kind of introductory kind of price. So it might stay that way, hopefully. If it goes up, then I think it wouldn't really, you couldn't see it as a kind of competitor to Guinness, because obviously Guinness, well known, very popular right now in the UK, especially in UK pubs. It is the #1 selling beer in UK pubs, first time ever. So it just gives you an idea of, if they were coming in, they certainly waited for the wrong time to think, yeah, now's our chance. Now that Guinness has reached the heady heights of the #1 selling beer in British pubs, this is the time to go after them. This is the time to really ramp up the competition against them. I don't think BrewDog was actually kind of thinking from that point of view. I think maybe they felt that with maybe the kind of downturn in the craft beer market and everything else, that maybe it might be better to maybe do some beers that are more attractive and more appealing to a more kind of traditional beer drinking audience, that type of thing. Which of course makes a bit more sense to me. Going after Guinness the way Guinness is right now wouldn't really make much kind of business sense. But kind of diversifying and trying to make more beers that are appealing towards the kind of more traditional mainstream kind of drinkers and less of the craft fraternity, because there's craft breweries basically nosediving and closing and going into administration left, right and centre right now. It's nearly, every week there's about 2 or 3 of them basically going to the wall. And we're talking about kind of fairly well-known ones from that point of view. We're not talking about microbreweries, but we're talking about breweries that have been going, and they've had a bit of success, but it hasn't been enough. And I think with BrewDog and everything else, maybe with some of the other ones as well, that well, maybe we should start kind of opening up our range and kind of make some more kind of traditional products that would appeal to, like I said, more traditional beer drinkers, and bring in revenue from there, which is fine. I mean, but it's not just a case of making the product, it's also a case of pricing the product that, well, people either want to pay for or can afford, and that's what it really comes down to. So at £5 for a 4-pack, that's fine. If it goes up to £6 or £7, then for a 4-pack, I think you're really going to struggle, because at the end of the day, more traditional like stout drinkers that really actually like the taste of stout don't really go for the Guinness so much. They'll go for maybe something like Fuller's Black Cab or something like that. And let's be totally honest, if I was going to be spending money, £6 or £7 on 4 beers, then I would rather buy Fuller's Black Cab Stout than maybe a BrewDog Black Heart. Although it's not a bad stout, it's not in the realms of Black Cab and other kind of more esteemed stouts. It's okay. It's more flavour than Guinness. I would say it's more flavour than Guinness, which is fine for being 25 pence more, or roughly about the same type of price, let's be totally honest. But if you're looking at maybe £1 to a couple of pound more per 4-pack, and let's be totally honest, they're quite easy drinking, fairly low alcohol beers, so people will be looking to buy maybe 2. If they're having a session, then they're going to be drinking maybe 6 or 8 pints, so they're looking to buy 2 4-packs. So a tenner's fine. Handing over a tenner, boom, getting 2, that's fine. Breaking into a 20 in the UK, is a different thing. For £12, maybe even up to £14 for 8 cans. Well, the flavour isn't that great. It's still a mainstream kind of stout. The flavours are okay. The flavours are a bit more than Guinness. There's more flavour to it than Guinness, but it's not tremendous in any way, shape or form. Let's break it down the flavours. Right. Starts off, you're getting a dark roasted malt and a little bit of sweetness. And that sweetness is it's kind of slightly molasses kind of sweetness that you're getting there. So there's a kind of a yin and yang. There's a bit of bitterness to that sweetness. So the little aromas of bitterness just there. Move on to the kind of mid-term. Yes, you're getting little bits of kind of hints of coffee. Again, little hints of bitterness. The dark roasted malts. And that little kind of light accent of molasses. Moves on to the aftertaste. The kind of flavour of molasses kind of ramps up a bit. You get a little bit of sweetness. You're getting a bit more bitterness, so you are. The coffee accents have kind of dissipated, so you're really left with kind of three main profiles in your aftertaste. So you've got a kind of a bitterness, which is slightly kind of molasses bitterness, or treacle bitterness. There's a little hint of sweetness in the aftertaste as well, which is quite nice. And you've got some, obviously, still the kind of dark roasted malts. And that's really it. And the flavour profiles, well, being stronger than Guinness and quite easily identifiable. I think there isn't enough flavours there to really kind of put itself into the realms of the kind of the big boys and things like that. I'd say that yes, this is probably more of a kind of mainstream, kind of run-of-the-mill, kind of average, kind of stout, I would say. But compared to Guinness, there is a bit more flavour. There's a little bit more body going on from that point of view. But yeah, it's all right. I mean, it was all right. It'd be interesting to see what it tastes like in on the draft. But in the can, yeah, it's okay. There's a bit of flavour there. There's a bit of something to it, but not overly great and not overly wonderful. But yeah, it's fine from that point of view. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I would. At this price, I would say yes. £5. I think even £5.50 would be too much. I think it's going to be around about the £5. £5 or below, I think that's really what it's got. And I think, yeah, because I think Guinness has kind of got it right for these type of things. Again, I don't know why they do the 440ml cans. I mean, at the end of the day, the more kind of normal people are used to drinking 500ml cans and 500ml bottles, and most breweries are doing it. So when you get them doing it, but maybe they're trying to do it as a direct comparison to Guinness, because Guinness does it in the 440ml can. It might be something as simple as that. Or maybe they feel it's a cases where we give you less, you know, it makes us a bit more money, or maybe just kind of makes it a bit more profitable, which probably might be the more honest kind of answer to that question. But just that annoys me, so it always loses points from that point of view. But if I had £5 in my pocket, would I buy Guinness or would I buy a 4-pack of this? I probably would buy the BrewDog, on the basis there's a bit more flavour to it. I just find Guinness just too bland. It's more of a texture rather than a flavour. With this one, it's less of a texture and more of a flavour. So from that point of view, that makes it better. So that's a bloody doorbell now. Well, it could go off because I'm not doing it. I'm going to wait and finish this. So out of 10, what would I give this? I'm going to give it 5.5 out of 10. I'm not going to give it any more. It might have got a 6 if it was a 500ml can and they were going to sell it for £5. But see as it's £5 just now as an introductory offer, and it might go up, and it's only a 440ml can, I'm only going to give it 5.5, and that's the best I can really do for it. It's fine. I would recommend it. Yeah, give it a go and see what you think. but it's not groundbreaking and it's nothing particularly special. But it is a better option from BrewDog, and hopefully they'll continue and do some other kind of more kind of traditional styles of beer, and hopefully they'll be more interesting than some of their craft offerings. So it's a 5.5 out of 10, 440ml can, it's 4.1%, it's £5 for 4-pack at the moment. Thanks for watching, cheers, and bye for now.